Welcome, kayak anglers, to our video podcast. This episode is sponsored by our friends at Payne Outdoors. No nonsense, straight talk, outdoor animals, and custom plastics. Guggen Brothers Custom Tackle, custom-made jigs and Ned rigs. Feel-free kayaks. Pedal, paddle, or power, there's something for everyone. And Yak Gadget, proudly supplying you with American-made kayak fishing accessories and gear. Now, let's join our host, John Rapp.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. My desktop audio don't seem to be working. I'm not for sure. I hope that's not the case, but it looks like it's kicking out some. Heath Mullins, if you can hear me, bro, tell me, can y'all hear my audio? But if you can, I got a great show for you. It's a little bit different than what we've normally done. We've got a fireside chat kicking tonight. Chris Payne is going to be off. And thank you, Stormy. Chris Payne's got a few things he's doing this weekend and next weekend. So I've got a couple of great gentlemen on the line from West Virginia here tonight, West Virginia contingent. So let's do a quick introduction here. So we've got Philip Backus. Hey, Philip, what's going on? Wave at us, say hi.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Okay, then we got Philip here live, and then we've got, let's see who else we're going to have with us. So we got Rick Garavaglia. Rick Garavaglia. How you doing, buddy?
Garavaglia.
Really
well. Yep.
All right, there we got Rick. And then, not last but not least, we've got our boy Mark Edwards. What's up, Mark?
How you doing, John?
So, guys, what we're going to do here tonight, we got a fireside chat. We're going to kick it up, and I'm going to bring everybody on here so we can start talking about a few topics. First topic I want to get into is, in the past, back in March of 2015, one of the very first KBF events I think it may have been, they had the March of 2014, they had Santee Cooper. It was one of their first events, and then following year they went to Kentucky Lake for March of 2015. I made that trip, and at that time, when we were going to our weigh-in and check-in and meeting at the convention center, our identifier was they give us a code, but they gave you a piece of plastic foam about yay big to write on. And that really was pretty nice because if you dropped it, it would float in the water. Now, if the kayak fishing world's been paying attention 6 years later, things have moved. Tourney X is still around. They've made a move. KBF has went to a couple of new scoring systems. Now they're with Fishing Chaos, or how you say it. And if y'all were watching recently, the owner of that, while they were at the KBF National Championship, was talking about going to a system where it's got RFID chips on the identifier. So, I mean, can you imagine going from a piece of foam where you wrote it down with the pen to now being handed something, and they can track everything you do, see, log your fish, your past history, because all your information is going to be connected to that. And the way I understand it by the video, you take your phone and you touch you either use your camera feature to it and operate the flow code or QR code or anything like that to make it work. Give me your thoughts on that, guys. Whoever wants to go first.
I heard about it at the National Championship, talking to a couple guys. And the way I understood it was they're going to give you a card that's got a QR code on it, and you put that with your fish, and as soon as you hover your camera over the fish, it'll take a picture for you. Then you just confirm, and then it will automatically upload to the Fish and Chaos. So you don't have to go into the app or do anything. It's all done straight from your phone. Is the way I understood it. So it should make it a lot quicker.
Yeah, but you have to
I think
have service, right?
I didn't hear what did you say.
Do you have to have service, cell service?
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm sure you do.
So
there'll most likely be a workaround for that, because if the RF activates, then whenever it focuses in on that barcode or that other code and takes a picture, if you don't have service, they have to have a workaround around that. But it would store it and probably upload it when you got service. Otherwise, it's gonna be draining your phone all day.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know when they plan on introducing it, but I'm sure it'll be a learning curve and it can't work out.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts
with our signal?
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, no, you're good, man. I want to know what are your thoughts on that move to that type of technology?
I think it's a great thing. I mean, when you think about integrity and that new rule they added to show the video release and everything, I mean, it's about making it more fair for everyone and eliminate some of the cheating. I think that's a simple way. I don't know what RFID costs, but it's going to be getting cheaper over the years as more people use it for different reasons. But I like the idea just simply because it does hold us more accountable. I mean, you're out there in a kayak far away from someone, you're not guaranteed to have someone with you like a co-angler, an official or whatever, but I think it helps.
Mark, what do you think, buddy?
Well, I listened to it the other day when he was interviewing him. Chad was interviewing the guy, and they also said you could use it in multiple tournaments. I mean, it kind of lost me. I didn't really understand, but now the way Philip explained it, I don't know that much about technology, but I do know what he's talking about there. The only thing about too much technology and what we're doing is the cell service. And then what if your card gets scratched or something and not be able to focus on it, gets wet? There's, we got a learning curve to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
There could be some issues with it. I mean, I don't know, but we'll have to see.
I have mixed feelings on it. I personally, I think it's a great technology. I think it's something that we do need. I mean, where I was tournament director and graded fish for all those years for WVKA, I mean, and you guys know, every fish that's submitted to Tourney X normally has some type of location for it embedded in the photo when you take it, because your photos they put GPS on them, and that's the other thing. You guys have iPhones?
I have Android.
Android?
I have Android. Yeah, I have Android too.
Okay, well, iPhone just came out with a update 15. And with that update, and I don't know how Android software works, but I contacted Dwayne and let him know as soon as I saw it. But with the new software, you can actually go in and change the location and date of your photo. Yeah. So, I mean, like, what if I took a picture last week of a 20-inch smallmouth, and, I mean, now, I'm an old cop, so I'm always trying to think about how I can catch cheaters, right? So, if I wear the same stuff to every tournament, and some guys do, and you go back and you take a picture of using that RFID or something, but if you have a picture and you change the time and date on it and upload it to Tourney X, because on those identifiers, a lot of guys can have multiple tournament numbers on there, but you could upload that and maybe get away with it because your judges are looking at, okay, mouth is there, I see an identifier. Yeah, tail's right. Good picture. Because when they're grading 150, 200 fish, they're just looking for the basic things. They're not looking for the minute details. So that's why I like the RFID, especially with this software coming out that on an iPhone, they can change the date and time.
I think on Android you could always change it. From my understanding, you could change on your phone before you took a picture.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. They just don't mention it a lot because you don't want no cheating. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants that crap.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's metadata. I think that any time that a picture's changed, whether it's the date or the location, the software should be able to pick up that it was modified. And if it was modified, then they'll look closer. I think there has to be a way in the way we've been doing things that they can tell that it's been changed. I mean, when I first started taking pictures, photography, I didn't have any kind of, on my camera, I didn't have any kind of location services or anything like that. But on iPhoto, there was places where you could change dates and things like that, but that doesn't change the original metadata. And anytime on any picture I have, I can hit back, revert to original, and it takes all that stuff out of it and goes right back to the original. So, I think that the technical people can see the original metadata.
Let's hope
it was taken.
Let's hope that that's right. Yeah. We have to hope that that's coded in the software.
Cheaters are going to cheat. Yeah, the cheaters are going to cheat.
They're going to try.
Yeah. So, I mean, the easiest policy is to tell the truth, and you don't have to remember your life. So, I think most will function out of that, but some will try to figure it out.
Oh yeah, I mean, cheaters always go push the envelope, man. They're going to look for that way. I mean, you had Flexgate. With the hog trough, now everybody went to the catch board. So I just feel like that. Well, anyway, going back to that conversation with Dwayne, he said when I told him about that, he's like, well, it looks like that we may have to make folks use the photo part of the app, where they take the picture through the app and not submit a picture from their phone. So that's part of it there. So, Philip, you got quiet. What do you think, buddy?
I mean, I'm all for preventing cheating. That's what they brought a new rule out at the national championship where you had to video you releasing your fish and then pan back to your board that it was empty, and that's just to keep people from sharing fish or whatever. And there was a lot of complaining about it, but it literally takes 5 seconds. It's no big deal at all.
Well, it wasn't something that they had you uploading, was it? It was just something that they had you keep on your phone. And if you were a money winner, they could go back and look at it.
Yeah, and they supposedly did random polls where they would just check random people to make sure they were doing it. But nobody in our house got checked. But it's just there if questions come up.
Well, good deal.
Yeah. That's why I started videoing. That's why I bought 2 Tacticams, and slowly through the year figured out ways to better video. If I was ever accused of anything, my cameras were rolling all day, and whether it produced a video or not, for fun, but I could at least show, hey, this is how I did it. Tell me if I did something wrong, kind of a deal.
Good deal. Okay. Any other thoughts on that topic? So we like RFID if we can get around the issues with no phone signal and stuff like that for West Virginia.
Yeah.
Rick?
It may not be ideal. It may not be ideal in West Virginia. There's a lot of places without service, but as far as big national tournaments, most of those lakes have pretty decent service. I'm sure that's where it come out first.
Mark?
At Potomac, I ran into an issue. Oh, go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I was listening.
Go ahead, Rick.
At Potomac, I ran into an issue where I I was fighting that wind that was keeping the water from coming back into the bays. And I mean, I was trying to get back toward the ramp, and I was about ready to quit. And I come across a school of fish, and I got right real quick, and I made the mistake of trying to upload fish in between catches instead of just hammering them. And I don't know what I missed, if it affected my finish or what, but waiting on that thing to go from 5, 10, 15, 20, 90, 98% uploaded wore me out. I mean, it had me shaking, and so that goes along with the signal. But after 3 or 4 fish, I stopped, and I hit that school of fish till they were gone, and if we're having to wait on it to upload to go to the next fish, I'm gonna have some complaints about it, because that'll affect the tournament. I mean, when the fish are firing, you gotta hit them.
So what you're saying? So my understanding from what your comment is, and guys, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Because of that RFIDI, you or Fishing Chaos, you have to take the photograph of each fish when you catch it, release, then try to fish, then catch it, photograph it, and does it upload, or is it like what we have with Tourney X, where you have a dry well?
It's like,
or live well.
I don't know if it's dry well, but you can just take pictures with your phone and just upload whenever, as long as it's before the deadline. That's all. I mean, I never actually take pictures. I just use my phone and upload them when I have decent.
Right. That's the same thing, but I tried to upload at that moment because I thought I had this decent signal, and it messed me all up. I should have just waited like normal. Murray was slow enough to where I could load each fish, but when they were flurrying on Potomac, I tried the same thing, and it messed me up.
I don't know if they had it then, but they have an option now, and they might have had it then, where you can upload a low-res image of your fish, and it goes through a whole lot faster. And then when you get into better service, it'll upload the high-res image for you.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was at the National Championship. I didn't do that before.
Okay, well, let's take a quick break, and then we'll go on to our next topic, which is pros in kayaks.
Payne Outdoors, Straight Talk, an outdoor product analyst and custom soft plastic maker. Check out our reviews and products at our website, payneoutdoors.com.
Feel Free Kayaks, something for everyone. Pedal, paddle, or power, we can outfit you to meet your needs. For more information, visit feelfreeus.com.
Yak Gadget offers all kinds of kayak accessories such as motor mounts, anchor systems, and other track-based items to make your time more enjoyable on the water. Visit their Facebook.
Hey guys, we're back. Thanks for watching. Got a great panel of guys sitting in the background, and our next topic is going to be talking about pro kayak fishermen. No, actually, let's change. Let me rephrase that. Pros in kayaks. Our big name individuals like Mike Iaconelli, he's sort of broken the ground for guys. But if you've been paying attention here lately, Edwin Evers, one of my favorites, my favorite angler out there, pro angler, just recently has put out some YouTube video where he purchased a Bass Pro kayak, an Ascend, and he's rigging it up. And if you guys follow Gene Jensen, Gene was out there fishing with him, and Gene also gave him some tips on rigging his kayak. So I got a video here queued up of Edwin. I think it was posted today. He was out there today fishing, and he caught his first bass in a kayak.
From a kayak till today.
Let's watch it again.
Oh, I got one. Oh, it's a nice one. I gotta turn my trolling motor off. How sweet is this? Got a bunch of grass. It's my first kayak bass. Check it out. Oh, it's a big one. Oh man, looky here. Oh, you're such a special bass to me. Man, you know, in my career, I've caught a lot of bass, and I've caught a lot of bass from a lot of different boats. I've never caught a bass from a kayak till today.
All right, so that was Edwin Evers. Edwin's a pro of all pros. I mean, if you don't know who he is, God bless you, because the dude is solid. He's got some great content out there. And a couple years ago, he won a tournament. He won over $300,000 from one event, and it showed him sitting in basically in a creek bed, and he was catching fish cast after cast after cast. He had like 20 some casts in a row, but I mean, he was slaying them and killing those fish, and he won that tournament. I guess that was a $300,000 tournament that he won, put him over $500,000 for the year. He's in a kayak now. Panel, guys, my gurus, guys, if y'all are just joining the show, the big, bald, ugly dude on the top left of your screen is Rick Garavaglia. I am on the right. The ugliest dude on the screen that's got the cracked bottom left, that is Marky Parky Edwards. And then we got Philip Backus on the right. Okay, guys, my boys from West Virginia. Here's the question of the day. If you watched that video, you saw Edwin had his boat somewhat. He had a fish finder on it. He had a GoPro on it. He had a front trolling motor. And you heard him on the video say, "Oh, I need to stop my trolling motor," when he was catching that fish. So there's a learning curve. What does he need to learn up front if he wants to try to get out there and fish a kayak fishing tournament? Mark, run with it, buddy.
Yeah, they already know how to fish tournaments. The first thing is they're just going to have to realize they can't run and gun like they're used to. And I learned years ago, like when I used to boat fish, and it would frustrate me. We'd catch fish in practice in an area, then go back in a boat, and I think a lot of it's timing. But then we go back and never get a bite. And I was always think, if I was on the bank, I could catch fish right here. The fish are still here, but you just don't catch them. So, like when you're in a kayak, I've learned the fish are there. You just got to figure out what they're going to bite and how they're set up. So, they would just have to. If you noticed, if you ever watch them live, they don't change up baits very often. They kind of stick with something all day. And my opinion is you just got to switch up and figure out what they're eating that day. And you're just limited to areas, so you're just going to have to. They're going to have to figure out how to catch them in the small areas that they're available.
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do, man. I'm going to definitely recommend to any of these pros, if they want to learn how to carry more than 10 fishing poles on a kayak, I'm going to send them your way. Because we know Marky Mark has a system set up where he carries, 12 to 14 poles?
I'm 12 is what I try to. It's aggravating. It frustrates me, but then I'm glad I have them though. And then, my kayak, I'm able to. Sometimes I have 20 in the boat with me, so I'll be thinking about a rod that's in my rod box. I'll be thinking like, man, I need to get that thing out. That's how I am.
Well, if you watch the episode that we were talking about with Edwin, he had probably 10 poles laying on the left side of his boat. Pole after pole after pole. And he's wearing that one out, and he throws, and something happens. He grabs a different pole, throws it out, and I'm like, that's going to be hard to do when you're limited to carrying 3 or 4 poles on the water. So, yeah, they definitely might want to have to hook up with you, Mark, to learn how to carry more than 4 or 5 poles. So,
Yeah, well, I was listening to Ike after he, done his first couple tournaments, and he said that was the biggest thing he had to learn was how to practice and how to pick the areas that he fished. He tried to move. I think his first tournament he tried moving a couple times, and it just makes it so hard to try to cover more areas like that. You waste so much time, loading and unloading and stuff. But there's times when it's necessary. I mean, I've done it before.
Well, Rick,
I don't like to move, but I've done it.
Rick, I know you came from a bass boat to the kayak world. What was one of your learning curves up front?
Well, I take 12 rods. I take as many as I can. I try to have a slot for every rod except for the one in my hand, and then I'll switch one out. I try to rarely put one at my feet, especially if I'm skipping. I've broke too many rod tips that way. Whopper plopper across the front of your boat in Elk River, you're eventually going to snap something, and I've done it 3 times, I think, now. Man, I don't know what, I mean, they know how to find fish. They know how to fish the area. I've seen them on Major League Fishing where they wear an area out. I've seen them where they want to hop around spots. I've seen them going through the rod lockers and switching up things. So they know a lot of that stuff. I would say, I mean, you look at Ike and Ellie, you look at Evers. I mean, they're both like the squirrel went over the hedge, hopped up on caffeine at times, and I think they just got to learn how to slow down a little bit on a kayak and manage that smaller space and contain that energy. So just so they don't make a mistake that they could tip or make a mistake. I mean, I've seen Ike and Ellie fall off a bass boat before and break a bunch of rods. So, it's one of those things. I think just learning your balance and putting time in the kayak. I mean, it's not going to be something where they're just going to be able to go jump in there and be super successful right away. I mean, yes, they'll be able to do that. A few years ago, one of the pro fishermen from Pennsylvania, and I can't get Rambonis out of my head. It's not him, but
Dave Lefevre.
I try to look. Yeah, they were throwing a lot of shade his way for jumping in a kayak, and he won a tournament on Erie. I mean, he had a spot, he went to it, he won, and they were really bothered by that. So I mean, it translates very well. I think they just got to slow down a little bit, and I think it'll be good for the sport. It's going to draw a lot of attention to it, but yeah, they just got to figure out a smaller space, and I would say most things put time in the water. This was just my 3rd year in the kayak, and that first year, every time I had an hour, I was in it. I thought I'd be scouting with a bass boat and fishing in a kayak, and I haven't brought my bass boat back out since.
Yeah, Philip, what do you think, buddy?
I mean, the biggest difference is what they already said about it. You're going to have to pick a spot, and that's basically where you're going to be fishing. So you got to do your research and make sure that the fish are there, because if they ain't, it's an hour or more probably to move spots. And you're fishing in such a smaller space. You're going to have an organization system that works for you. Like I like to have all my rods behind me. You got to know where your net's going to be, where your tackle's at. I mean, if you hook a fish and got to get your net, it's laying under 4 rods and under your tackle, and you're fooling around trying to get that out, and you lose pressure on that fish is gone.
Do you think these guys, I mean, they all rely heavily on electronics. They move from spot to spot to spot that they have marked on their systems. Do you think maybe they need to learn how to pattern fish and the way the water is, or do they do that when they're using their electronics now?
I mean, they already know how to do that, but they're not going to have 4 to 5 graphs on the kayak. I mean, most I've ever seen on the kayak is 2, but most people are going to have 1.
I mean, one of the people, and Mark, I know you're probably the best or one of the best guys, but Jody Queen is one of the guys that can read a river like no man I've ever met. Him, Brian Aliff, and of course Joe Farley. And you're in that class of guys because you grew up down next to the New River. You've spent a lot of time down there. But I mean, I want to see these guys, and I look forward to seeing them lose the motor and have to float a river or do something that's a little rougher, and see how if they know how to fish current, strong current, with the current, against the current, diagonally with the current. I mean, they're pros. We know they know it, but I've never seen a guy like Joe Farley and Jody Queen throw a plopper or something against the current over a rapid and pull a 20-inch smallmouth out the way they do. Do you think these guys have that type of experience, or are they more used to a St. John's River down in Florida type stuff? Anybody jump on?
I mean, Edwin. Like Ike, man. He fished the Susquehanna a lot. The Susquehanna River, the Potomac River, Chesapeake Bay. Susky dumps in at Chesapeake Bay. And then Edwin, he's fished the Red River a lot in Oklahoma. I mean, they know current, and like I've got way more experience with my bass boat, in New River actually than I do the kayak still, even though I've been kayaking for several years.
Right.
I bass boat fished for 10 years down there. So, it's not, and the way me and Jody fish, I prefer to not float actually. I actually floated about every river tournament this year, and I bombed. And it was because I wasn't comfortable. It's being comfortable, and the fishing is so much mentally up here. You got to be comfortable and got to be confident. And if you're not confident and comfortable, your results is going to show.
That's one of the things I can remember fishing with Brian. He would start at a ramp and he would go up river. He would fish to a shoal. Then he would drag through the shoal, get up, and he would go up river further and get to the next shoal. He didn't really go too much with the river, at least the two or three times I went with him. And that I learned a lot from that type of techniques that he was doing on that occasion. Do you do that very much, Mark?
Yeah, that's what I prefer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned that from Brian and Jody. And if you really think about it, if you ever trout fish, growing up, a trout, all fish face upstream, you know what I'm saying, especially with current.
Exactly.
So they're expecting food to come to them. So if you're floating towards them, like in the Greenbrier, for instance, I had a tournament here within a month on the Greenbrier. I think it was our gold event.
Right.
It was so crystal clear. We didn't do very good because they could see us coming a mile away. You know what I'm saying? And your presentation of your bait is wrong. You can't throw a plopper or something and come upstream. It just it doesn't work that good. And it was a tough day, and the water was crystal clear. And the fish I didn't even see very many fish. They were done hid under rocks by the time I got down there.
I don't even want to talk about it. I caught 5 fish in 30 minutes, but it was from 3:05 to 3:45. Oh, heck. All right, guys, we can wrap this up. I think it's been pretty good conversation. So does Edwin and all the other guys jump on? Do they need to learn our scoring system and things of that? That'll come. I'm sure they'll have to learn that, but
I think Edwin's doing it for YouTube. This is just my opinion. I think he has a really great YouTube, and I highly recommend him.
Yes.
And I think there's so many people in the kayak, and if you look at his comments, a lot of people ask him about it, so he's just venturing out, spreading his wings there a little bit. But like Dave Lefevre, he's on the Fishing Online team. They was his main sponsor this year, and actually I had dinner with Dave after that tournament at Erie several years ago that he won, and he got a lot of, it was his backyard. Literally he fished out of his backyard, and I like the competition. If Kevin Van Dam wants to fish the club tournament, I love the competition. So, but you're gonna have people complaining about anything.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of got Dave out of it. And but Ike and Ellie's different, where he is sponsored by Hobie, and he loves the challenge. Ike's the kind of guy that if you challenge him, he's going to try to beat the challenge. So
Well,
that's why he's in there.
we need to go get Dave and grab him up for dinner and talk to him and say, hey, don't listen to the noise. Get out there and fish with us.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'd love to meet Dave.
yeah, I'd like to meet him. Now I was hoping I invited Gene Jensen to come on the show tonight. Hopefully he'll watch this episode, but we're going to try to get him on in 2 weeks because he went to somewhere south of Georgia today and he was getting his truck wrapped up with his new wrap. So look forward to seeing your new truck there, Gene Jensen, and getting you on this show and getting these fireside chatters on here to grill you on some of that fluke masterness that you have. But while we're bringing Gene on here is, Gene's fished with Edwin a few times, and he even did a video with Edwin telling him about rigging it up. So, but what do you say there, Mr. Cisco? You trying to join us there, Bubba?
I'm trying to get on here and look at you guys, but I can't figure this thing out.
And flip your camera.
We can hear you, Jeff.
Yeah, flip your camera sideways, Jeff. Guys, if y'all are just watching there, Jeff Sisk from the Charleston, Montgomery area has jumped on Discord here with us. He's been a content contributor on the show with us before. But, yeah, Jeff, we were just talking about Edwin Evers and these pro fishermen jumping on. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, you got your big old thumb right in the camera. We can't see you. Pretty mug here. There you go. Oh, but yeah, man. But
Raw and uncensored.
yeah, raw and uncensored. Big Jeff. Yeah, man. So yeah, we were talking about Edwin and the learning curves and wondering how these guys, when they jump in a little small boat, will use their extreme knowledge to be successful in small water, fast rivers. The consensus here from Mark and Rick, Philip, is that they're not going to have any problems because they're consummate professionals. It'll be just a small learning curve for them on the scoring and being lower to the water and things of that nature. So, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah.
I know you came from a bass boat to a kayak, I believe. So,
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines. It won't be a big learning curve for those guys like it was for a lot of us.
yeah, they already know how to fish, that's for sure. So, well, final thoughts, guys. Ricky, you're top left. We'll let you begin the final thoughts, and we'll close up shop.
Technology and introducing it into the sport, I mean, it's going to come with some resistance. It's also going to help some things out. I think it's just going to take some time to iron all those things. I think the pros getting involved with kayak fishing is going to help out a lot. Unfortunately, pros like Lefebvre got ran out of that. I hate that for him. I hate that's what happened. But Ike and Ellie, he's been chomping at the bit for years, carrying that Hobie around on top of his truck. And it was about time. And you just knew it was a matter of time when he was taking this little break and figuring some things out that was going to happen. So I think it's good for the sport. Edwin's going to introduce a lot of people.
Yeah.
And get a lot of people excited about that as well. See that's affordable. And he's helping Bass Pro out sell some kayaks too. So good stuff.
I think that's one of the key things there. He's sponsored by Bass Pro. I also believe both of those guys have kids that are in the 11 to 12, 13-year-old range, maybe a little older. And, I mean, what better way to get out on the water with them and enjoy floating around? I mean, it's a great thing.
Next.
Yeah. Marky Mark, what do you think, buddy? Final thoughts, closing arguments?
Closing arguments. I ain't got no arguments or nothing. But I do like seeing the more you see the guys getting involved in the kayaking, the bigger it's getting. And I I mean, I'm all for some of them jumping in some of these national tournaments, if they got time. And if it's most of the time you see them jumping in is if they're local to them, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Jackpot is what we call it, I guess. But yeah, it's good for us, getting the more exposure and I like the competition.
That's what I like too.
I can't wait to fish against Ike. I guess it's a Bass Classic. I guess get to fish against Ike for the first time, so that'd be pretty good.
Man, I'm hoping, guys. I'm hoping when we get Gene Jensen on here that we can get Edwin on here on this little Rusty Hook kayak fishing podcast and get him to give us his thoughts on being out on the water in a little plastic boat. Philip?
I mean, I love the idea of pros coming to the sport. It's good for the sport. It brings more eyes to the sport, exposure, and when I'm fishing, I want to fish against the best. I mean, you're going to learn more that way. And as far as the identifiers goes, the QR code, RFID, whatever it is, I mean, that's just going to be a trial and everything. We'll just have to learn through it and see how it goes.
Yeah, I believe that's the way the sport's going, and I like it. I just get just a little bit worried about the bugs and the problems. I mean, like when we all went to Lake Murray, I was out on the water. I had a fish at 10 a.m. and I couldn't get it submitted, and I had to send, I think it was Amanda, an email or text message, Miss Brandon, and she told me to delete the program and reinstall it, and I had to do that. That's sort of scary, man, because what if you have a bug and it won't reinstall or something, or you have to
That happened. Yeah. That happened to me in Florida. I was sitting on the water waiting for first cast, and I couldn't even get logged in to check in on the water. I had to delete the app and reinstall it like 10 minutes before first cast, sitting out on the water.
Oh, that's nerve-wracking, man. That's nerve-wracking. So,
yeah, Pickwick this year, it was 11 o'clock, and I was upgrading. And I have loaded my fish because I had cell service all day. And 11 o'clock, I catch an upgrade, and and it won't load. And then I catch another one, and I'm flipping out because I like loading them as fast as I can.
Yep.
And just where I don't have to worry about them or I'll forget or something. So anyway, I couldn't, it wouldn't load. I mean, it was running my battery down. I was down to like 34% battery life at 12 noon. And I had cell service, and it would be like the 80-some%, and then just stop. And I was flipping out. And my buddy Casey Reed, who I was fishing in the same area, he just said, "Don't worry about it." I had to update my app, but like in the middle of the day, it worked fine the day before, and then half the day the next day. It's frustrating for sure.
That's a concern. Those programmers, they need to maybe freeze their updates until once they go, that app runs until that season's over, and then they can make their major updates after, But
they seem to have about everything worked out. I didn't hear of any issues at the national championship, and I mean, I was in a place where I didn't even have enough service to make a phone call. My phone would say 1 bar, and it still let me upload fish. It took a while, but I could upload fish with service where I couldn't even make a phone call.
That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's a growing curve for Fishing Chaos. I mean, in my opinion, it's still got a lot of growing to do compared to Tourney X, but it's I noticed changes going on during the national championship. Even how you look at the standings and stuff was actually better than what it had been all season.
Yeah,
it's cheaper. It's cheaper too. It's like you can either pay the yearly, or it's I think $4 a month, unlimited tournaments. Where Tourney X is $5 for every tournament you're in. So I mean, it can save money too. I think it's what a lot of people are looking at.
I've only fished one tournament with KBF this year, and that was at Murray back in March, April. So for me, it's not worth it because I've already spent $30. where for one tournament. So I think that they need to have a way. I mean, because there's no like you don't have like a Facebook page or a resume or anything like that you get with Tourney X for your fees for $20 a year. But
Yeah. I really like that about Tourney X because that helps us anglers show, like, if you're trying to get sponsorships
exactly
of your past. I mean, it's a record. And now with Chaos, I mean, I had a heck of a season, and even though, but as bad as I hate the challenges, I did really well with challenges, but it doesn't show, anything. So.
Well, guys, excellent show. Jeffrey, thanks for jumping in with us, baby. You have any thoughts on our topics there?
No, but probably the same thing all the other guys said. Any of these bigger names coming into the sport, I think, will do nothing but help it as far as competition-wise and exposure-wise.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to let you gentlemen jump off. I'm going to go over here and talk to the folks here, and we're going to close up shop. Hey, Stream a Ween next weekend. I'd love for all of you to come back. Mark, you can come back as a werewolf. That was funny. Come on, guys. Yeah.
I don't play dress up. Halloween, I'm not a Halloweener.
But yeah, I mean, there'll be guys that'll come online. They'll come online and be dressed up. I'm going to have a costume on for next week as a host. And gentlemen, please try to jump on and share a scary story out in the water. I mean, we've all got some scary stories. This will be a PG-13 event, my fine fellows out there. There may be some content that our youngins might not want to hear, but the whole idea of the show is tell a funny story, a scary story, or something that's happened out on the water. It's a trick-or-treat episode. Skeleton of fun. Did anybody catch that? Skeleton of fun? Man, you guys are a hard act to follow. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up tonight. God bless you all. You have a good evening. Hey, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
So that was our show, episode 18 tonight. Again, I want to thank everybody for signing on with us. It looks like we had quite a nice following tonight. Different type of format than what we normally do. Look forward to having my buddy Chris Payne back on in a couple weeks. Miss his humor, and hopefully all is going well with his endeavors for tonight and next Tuesday. I got an open invite to all of you followers and friends out there. Would love for you to join us and come on and tell a story about something that's happened to you on the water or even off the water, a float trip, something that's happened when you've been working on a rod. I got a couple stories I'm going to tell. I'm even going to tell a couple stories on my wife if I can't get her to show them, jump on and do them. But definitely want to invite you next week to our trick-or-treat edition of the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Talk Show, raw and unfiltered. All right, we're going to sign off.
Good morning, Team Dyer fans. Hope you guys are safe this morning. It's a ball morning out here. We out here playing third last match pitch local this year. Been out here a couple of days looking around and